Yo, what is good, Sixer Nation? DFJ Hoops here, back again with another show. And the 76ers schedule just dropped for the 2025-2026 season. So we're going to react to it, make a few observations about it, and talk about everything in regards to the schedule. And then also Nick Nurse gave an update in regards to Joel Embiid. So we'll talk about that. But it's Sixer talk. So if y'all got any questions, any rumors, anything, y'all can leave it in the comment section and I'm gonna get to it. But appreciate y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Salute to my guy One Mike in the building. Appreciate you. Says it's gonna be war against y'all. My Celtics versus your Sixers. No Tatum, no Joel Embiid. Salute to One Mike, always in here, always supporting the show. He's a Boston Celtics fan, but still got the same support for DFJ Hoop. So appreciate you, bro. Salute to my guy Humble in the building. Can't tune in, but I got the notification. Keep going hard, fam. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. And salute to my boy RJ. Crazy. I've been a fan since forever, and I have literally zero hope. I feel like this is worse than the process. Yeah, you ain't lying though. You ain't lying, RJ. You ain't lying, but appreciate you. And RJ, I gotta make you a mod. I'm surprised you're not a mod, but I gotta mod you up real quick. But I'm gonna probably do that later on. Love the intro music, but I'm gonna hook you up with the theme beat for you. Appreciate, hey RJ, I appreciate you. I mean, you be doing your thing on Instagram, so I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be looking forward to it too. I want something crazy though. Yeah, and salute to Tuna Sports, Cleveland Cavaliers fan. Y'all can check him out. We'll have some, back and forth for next season, right? Because the Sixers play the Cavs 4 times, but we're gonna definitely talk about it. But Uh-oh, here we go. I know Humble about to say some shit. Hold on, let me put this on. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, let me get the schedule on the screen and let's just talk about it. So, yeah, there it is. So, oops. So the first game of the so I think the season starts on the 21st, right? The season starts on the 21st, and unfortunately, the Sixers are not playing the first day of the season. I mean, usually the Sixers they typically play, the first day of the season, right? Whether it's the Boston Celtics, whether it's Milwaukee, like they used to play the first game of the seasons, right? And those are, in the past seasons, I think in the 21-22 season, they were one of the teams that played on the first day. The season after, they were one of the next teams that played. Um, and they usually play Boston or Milwaukee. But next season or this season, this upcoming season, whichever one you want to go with, they're taking on the Boston Celtics at home. And I don't know why it's always a home game. Like they never play at home. I mean, it's always a it's always a game on the road. Like they never play at home, but they take on the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics, of course, are not going to be with Jason Tatum. He's out for the whole season with an Achilles injury, right? And then they take on the Charlotte Hornets, the Orlando Magic, the Washington Wizards, and then they play Boston again. So they're playing the Celtics twice in the same month. That is very, very surprising, right? That is very, very surprising. But looking at the schedule right here, one of the first observations is that, obviously they're not playing on the first day and they're not playing on Christmas. Now, the NBA made a smart decision by not scheduling the Sixers on Christmas because they don't know the status of Joel Embiid and Paul George, right? They don't know if they're going to play or not. Now, last Christmas game, it was a very, very good Christmas game against the Celtics. That was one of the Sixers' best game of the season, if not the best game of the season, where they took on the Boston Celtics and they took them out, right? And that was a huge game from Caleb Martin, a huge game from Tyrese Maxey. I think Maxey had a double double, the first and only Sixer player in Sixers history to have a double double on Christmas Day. So shout out to Tyrese Maxey, but that game was very, very good. But the season prior against the Miami Heat in 2023, Joel Embiid missed that one, right? And that proceeded to be one of the worst Christmas Day games ever, right? They got blown out by the Miami Heat, and I think Jimmy Butler didn't also play for the Miami Heat, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, but this year is going to be a lot different because there are other teams that are more deserving of that opportunity. The Cleveland Cavaliers being one of them, right? The Cleveland Cavaliers have been a very, very good team for the last 3 years, right? Ever since Donovan Mitchell got there, they've been very, very good. They've been top five the last 3 seasons. I think the first year they were the fourth seed. The second year they were the fourth seed again. And then last season they were the first seed. So the Cleveland Cavaliers get in that spot. I was telling Tune in Sports that I'm really happy for them, right? Because we get to see them on Christmas, play. Now, unfortunately, they're going to be playing the Knicks, and every game with the Knicks, I don't know why, but it's always at 12 o'clock. I don't know why, but I just wish they would have played like a little bit later for people to actually watch them because people don't really pay attention to those 12 o'clock games on Christmas. Now, the Knicks fans, obviously, they're definitely going to tune in. They're definitely going to watch and support their team. But in terms of, casual fans and fans around different team fans, like they're not really going to tune in to 12 o'clock games because it's too early for them, right? But still happy for Cleveland getting the opportunity and the Sixers not getting the opportunity because the Sixers do not deserve to play on Christmas, right? So some fans saying that the NBA is disrespecting the Sixers, I don't think so, right? I don't think so. They're just doing what's best for them, right? And it's just unfortunate that what's bad for the Sixers is good for other teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers. And what's good for the Cleveland Cavaliers and teams that are going to be playing on Christmas is what's best for business. So I'm happy that the NBA is going in that direction. Right. So that's one of the first few observations. But another observation is that the Sixers are going to have 16 back to backs for next season. And I think that's the most for next year. I mean, they're tied with another team. I'm not sure what team that is, but um, yeah, 16 back to backs. Now, 2 seasons ago, they only had 11 back to backs. the 23-24 season, it was only 11. The 2024-2025, which was last season, it was only 15. I mean, 15 is not only, but it was 15. And then this or next season, it will be 16. So it's every year it increases, right? Now, this is something that somebody had posted in regards to the back-to-backs. So it says for any team that employs Joel Embiid, the absolute most important component of the schedule is how many back-to-backs exist on it. Embiid said before the start of last season that he never expects to play in both legs of any back-to-back again. He only played in 19 games last year, never suiting up on 2 nights in a row. The idea of Embiid logging any complete back-to-backs remain hard to fathom at this point, both in terms of lack of advisability of Embiid doing it and in terms of his physical ability to do it. The number of back-to-backs on the schedule should set the most basic floor for Embiid's missed games. This year, the Sixers have 16 back-to-backs. How does it compare to prior seasons? And for the prior seasons, like I said, the 23-24 season at 11 back-to-backs, the 24-25 at 15, and then the 25-26, they're going to have 16. Definitely do not make any wagers that Embiid will play over 66.5 games in the 25-20. I mean, who does that? I don't think anybody does that. But the thing is that the Sixers are going to play in a lot of back-to-backs, which is it fair? I mean, I don't know. Who is to say whether it's fair or not? But in seasons in the past, they've played in only 11 back-to-backs. So I think it gives opportunities to some of the younger players to get some playing time. The Adem Bonas of the world, the other power forwards that we picked up. Is it Dominic Barlow and a few other players? Like they get the opportunity to play. Even a guy we picked up in the second round, Janai Broom, right? Those players are going to get opportunities to play in those games. So I'm really happy for them because, they get to play, they get the experience of what it's like to play in the NBA because they're not going to get typical playing minutes or playing time in the NBA. So I'm happy that they're going to play 16 back-to-backs. Now, obviously, like this person just said, Joel Embiid is not going to be playing in any back-to-backs. Paul George probably will not even play in no back-to-backs, right? Because he's been dealing with his injuries, his knee injury. So, yeah, one advantage is that it gives the younger players more playing time, right? And the fact that the Sixers are going in a different direction, which is, prioritizing younger talents, is just going to be very, very fun to watch them play, right? It's definitely going to be fun for them. Now, the disadvantage, you got a few vet players on your team that cannot deal with the rigors of playing back to backs, constantly. They're not gonna play constant back to backs, but it's just not gonna favor them, right? You got Kyle Lowry in year 20, right? Whether he's gonna play or not, I mean, who is to say? And then Eric Gordon, who's in year 17 or 18, how many years he's played in the league, right? Those players are not going to benefit from the back to backs. But the Maxies, the Jared McCains, the VJ Edgecombs, the Justin Edwards, Adem Bona, some of the younger players are really going to benefit from it, right? They're going to benefit from it. So I love it. Right, I'm not going to complain about it, and also that's the price you pay for not being a good team last season, right? That's the price they pay. So, that's that. And then another observation is that the Sixers only have 14 televised games, nationally televised games. I think last season they had about 24 or 25, but this year is going to be a significant decrease because they wasted everybody's time last season. With people thinking that there would be a very, very good team or a great team last season, at least top three. But they ended up wasting everybody's time. So this season they're gonna pay for it, right? They're gonna pay for it. But the Sixers, I think everything is in their own hands, right? Everything is in their own hands. So they can switch the narrative, they can flip it, or use it as motivation to prove why it was such a terrible decision to only schedule them for 14 televised games, right? So no matter how they approach it, I think everything relies on them, right? And then also Nick Nurse as well, whether he's going to play the rifle players, right? Because Nick Nurse has a tendency of playing older guys and not playing the rifle guys in the moment, right? There are a lot of games where Adem Bona was supposed to be in the game, but Nick Nurse decided to go small, and the Sixers ended up losing, right? I'm not going to mention any games, but if you watched the Sixers last year, you definitely know what I'm talking about. So everything relies upon them. Now, let me focus on the Eastern Conference right quick. I'm gonna get to the West, but I think this schedule right here in the beginning is very, very. It's not very, very tough. I mean, I don't really talk about strengths of schedule and stuff like that. I don't focus on it because at the end of the day, you still got to play all 29 teams, right? So, but I mean, Boston, Detroit, Clippers, Raptors, Milwaukee. That's not no. These teams are very, very difficult, right? I think these teams are very, very difficult, and you will definitely need elite talent to beat these teams, right? So if Embiid and Paul George are not going to play the first 5 games, I can see the Sixers going 0-5, right? I can see them going 0-5. And even with the Boston Celtics, even with Jason Tatum not playing, I could still see them struggling in those games because the Boston Celtics are still better than the Sixers. But let me talk about the Eastern Conference, and I'm gonna go to the West. So the Eastern Conference, the Sixers are in the East. If you didn't know that, right? But I think in the Eastern Conference, there are certain teams that the Sixers play 4 times every year. I mean, these 4 teams, the Sixers will always play them 4 times every year. That is the Cleveland, I mean, not the Cleveland Cavaliers, but the Boston Celtics, the Brooklyn Nets, the Toronto Raptors, and the New York Knicks. Why? Because the Sixers are in the same conference as, I mean, not in the same conference, but in the same division as them, right? The Atlantic Division. So they're always going to play 4 games no matter what. But other teams in the Eastern Conference, sometimes they play them 4 times every year. Sometimes they play them 4 times a year. Other seasons they play them 3 times a year. Right now, they're going to play these teams 3 times a year: the Atlanta Hawks, the Charlotte Hornets, the Chicago Bulls, the Indiana Pacers, the Miami Heat, the Orlando Magic. Right. Yeah. So these teams are going to play them 3 times. And then 4 times they're going to play the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Detroit Pistons, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Washington Wizards. Now, last season, they only played Cleveland 3 times. But like I said, every year it flips, every year it switches. So that's that. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm not even looking at the comments. Salute to my guy, Mitch Kofsky in the building. Appreciate you. Y'all should definitely go check him out. Right. He does wrestling, does the Sixers, does the Eagles. Right. He does it all. Tune In Sports says Podcast P gives me bro, you gonna keep saying this podcast shit, bro? Come on, man. It's starting to get old. RJ says Adam Silver's trying to put us out our misery early. I appreciate that. Get us closer to fire Daryl. Hey, that could be the plan. Who knows? Right? That could be the plan. I mean, they might end up firing Morey and Nick Nurse early on in the season. Who knows? Right? It could definitely happen. Tune In Sports says, do you like how the team is constructed? Absolutely. I mean, not as of right now, but in the future, right? The fact that they're moving or heading towards like younger players, right? Players under 25 or younger, with Maxey, with Jeremy Kane, Justin Edwards, Adem Bona. Like I love that. I love that transition right now. Yeah, we still got a few older players. I think Kyle Lowry's 37. I mean, 38 or 39. Paul George is 35, gonna be 36 next year, and then other older players, Eric Gordon. But I love like in the future how the team is gonna look like. But as of right now, there's some positives with it and some negatives with it. But overall, I love how the team is constructed. Definitely. What are the expectations for the season? So I got the Sixers. I got the Sixers winning between 37 and 44 games next season. Right. Now it's an increase from what they did last season. I think they won like what 24, 23 games last year. But I think next season it increases to 37, between 37 and 44. Now if they win below 37, then yeah, they didn't meet my expectations for them. Now if they win 44 or more, they definitely exceeded expectations for me. And that is because I don't know the status of Joel Embiid and Paul George. I don't know what their status is going to be. So I can't even make a full take as of right now because I don't know if they're going to play or not. Right? I don't know if they're going to play or not. So yeah, that's why. But between 37 and 44, I think that's realistic. Right? I think that's realistic. And yeah, I think it's realistic for sure. He says Nick Nurse is JV in disguise. I'm telling you. He better than JB, bro. Nah, he's a better head coach than JB, bro. We not doing that. The Sixers are making the East look weak. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Thank you for the 4 wins in advance. Nah, the Cavs are not beating the Sixers 4 times next year. Nah, that's not happening. Nope. I mean, even last season we were terrible, and y'all couldn't even beat us 3 times. Right? The Sixers were one of the teams that beat the Cavs last year, as terrible as they was. But I think those games, Tyrese Maxey and Paul George really stepped up. They both had 30 pieces, and they beat the Cavs. That was a game that I think Ty Jerome had a huge game. I think he dropped like what 8 threes, 9 threes. I could be wrong, but it was something around that range. Yep, it was something in that ballpark. But yeah, so they take on some of these teams 3 times in the East and other teams 4 times. But I think the West Coast trip, which they play some of these West Coast teams, some of these games that end at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, me personally, I stay up late, every time, so I don't have any difficulties watching these games. But the West Coast trip will be in February, right? So that's later on in the season where they take on the Clippers, right? Which if Paul George is going to be healthy, guess what? He gets to play against his former team on the road at the Intuit Dome. So they take on the Clippers, and that's going to be a back-to-back. So they take on the Clippers, they take on the Golden State Warriors, they take on the Lakers, the Phoenix Suns, and then Portland Trailblazers. And then they come back home to take on the New York Knicks, right? They take on the Knicks, take on Atlanta, and then go back on the road. They take on the Pelicans, the Timberwolves, and the Indiana Pacers. So that's going to be very, very that's going to be very, very tough, right? But I mean, it's going to be later on in the season, which they're going to get used to it by that point. That'd be like 3-4 months into the season, so it's not going to be any difficult for them, right? And also they're NBA players, so this is what you signed up for, so you got to take whatever that comes with it, right? Got to take it, everything that comes with it. But I mean, you can look at some of these teams and just mark them as scheduled losses. Certain teams on here, the Sixers are not. If you don't have Joel Embiid and or Paul George, you're not going to beat these teams. So even with them, you're still going to lose games. But certain teams, you're just going to lose to them, right? Against the Cavs on the road, that is definitely a loss. I mean, I don't even think they're going to win any of these first games, right? These first 5 games, I think they lose them all. So I think they start the season 0-5. They start off the season 0-5 if Joel Embiid and Paul George are not playing, right? Because Maxey by himself is not good enough to beat the Celtics. Now, I mean, they might beat the Charlotte Hornets. My bad. They might beat the Charlotte Hornets. But Orlando's going to smoke them, right? Paolo Banchero is going to smoke the Sixers. And they might have a chance against the Wizards, right? But the Wizards did beat the Sixers last year in some games. I think they beat them twice, right? So, yeah, they lose to the Celtics for sure. They lose to the Magic for sure. They lose to the Celtics again. But the Charlotte Hornets, the Washington Wizards, and the Brooklyn Nets are the only teams that the Sixers might have a chance against, right? Those teams are the only teams that the Sixers might have a chance against. But the rest of the teams, not a chance. No chance in hell. The Sixers are going to be a play-in team. I mean, possibly. But I mean, even that, you can't even, it's not even a guarantee, right? Even it's not even a guarantee. And I smash the like button as y'all come in. It's not a guarantee, so. He says Ty Jerome cost us that game, I believe, with the inbound pass. Yeah, I remember. Yep, he did. Now that's terrible because like you have a game like that, and then at the end you just fumble a pass like that. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. That's the same thing that happened with Gary Trent Jr., where he was knocking down all those threes in the first round against the Pacers, right? Making all those threes in overtime, and then just the last pass could not catch it. and it just rolls out of bounds. And then the Halliburton just, put them in a casket and sent them home. That was crazy. But, performances like that, you just make a mistake at the end and it kind of like erases everything you did prior to that moment, prior to that play. And then guess what? These casuals will criticize you like no other, but I mean that's what comes with it, right? But yeah, this schedule, like I said, this schedule is very, very I like the schedule, right? I really like this. Um so Detroit on November 9th, Boston. So they play Boston 3 times very, very early. And then later on they take on the Celtics, I think in March, right? In March, yep, March 1st. So yeah, that's good. That's good. But let me see the first time they played the Knicks. They played the Knicks on December 9th. That would be the first game, I think, of the season. Right. So December 9th in New York. I might probably go to that game. I might. Hold on, nah, I'm not going to that game. It's televised. Hell no. Nah, we not doing that. But yeah, this schedule is very, very it's very, very interesting. And then in the middle of the season, you got Cleveland you play Cleveland twice. So you play the Raptors twice on a back to back, and then you play Cleveland twice. But that's gonna be 2 games in 3 days, right? And then you take on the Pacers, the Phoenix Suns, the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets is a scheduled loss, right? The Knicks, the Charlotte Hornets, Milwaukee, Sacramento, and then that's when the West Coast trip happens. Yeah, this is gonna definitely be a long season like last year, right? A very, very long season. And yeah, the Sixers gotta hope that Embiid and George plays, right? So yeah. He says Gary Trent sold at the wrong time. I mean, regardless, they wasn't beating the Pacers without Dame. Nah, but I felt like that game they had it in control because I think Indiana made a comeback. Yeah, Indiana made a comeback, and they had it in control because he was making a lot of threes. Right, he was saving Giannis, the quote unquote best player. He was saving his ass. I think Giannis only scored like 2 points in overtime, and the rest of the points were scored by Gary Trent Jr. So yeah, how many televised games y'all got? 14. Right. Last season it was 25, but next season it's going to be 14. So the NBA is definitely punishing the Sixers for wasting everybody's time. So okay, the season prior was 21, but 14. Yeah, that's a significant decrease. That is a decrease from last season, but hey, that's what you get from wasting everybody's time last year, right? Because the Sixers were expected to be a very, very good team, right? They had all these opportunities, and then guess what? They ended up being one of the worst teams. So, um, you can't blame the NBA for it, right? And it's not anybody's fault. It's just it is what it is, right? Injuries, whatever. Can't blame anybody for it. But yeah, for the most part, I think this schedule is very, very good. Um, the last 5 games of the season, you got Detroit, you got the Spurs, you got Houston, you got Indiana, and then you got Milwaukee. And all these games are not none of them are televised. But yeah, it's cool, right? It's cool now. In terms of strength of schedule, I don't know where it ranks. I mean, I don't talk about strength of schedule, like I said, but yeah, I love this, right? And they have a lot of rest time as well, right? A lot of time in between games if you look at it. So them playing 16 back to backs is nothing, right? It's nothing. In my opinion, it's nothing. Because there's a lot of times for rest, and then also you got some of these younger guys who can get opportunities to play. It's not like the Sixers are going to win a championship anyway, right? So yeah, that's that. But yeah, let me just react to this Nick Nurse update on Joel Embiid, and yeah, let's talk about it. Right. So let me share this one right here. All right, there we go. So from Yahoo Sports, Nick Nurse provides an update on recovering Sixers star Joel Embiid. The 76ers will be looking for superstar big man Joel Embiid to be ready for when training camp begins sometime in late September, early October. The big fella underwent left knee surgery in April as he looks to recover and bounce back from a season in which he played only 19 games. The Sixers will go as far as Embiid takes them. While Tyrese Maxey and Paul George are obviously talented players, they will need the 2023 MVP winner to be one of the top to be the one to step up and produce when the time calls for it. Therefore, his recovery is the most important thing for Philadelphia. Coach Nick Nurse spoke with TalkSport and gave an update on Joel Embiid. All the news is positive. I know he's working very, very hard, and I think things look good. Whether he's ready for training camp or not, I think there's maybe a lot more decisions than that to make before we get there. But our main thing is that he's healthy to play and play to his nearest capabilities because he's awesome. No doubt about that. So I mean, he's saying all the right things, in my opinion. Now, after he said this, I think this was dropped last night or maybe yesterday, whenever it was. And some Sixer fans were very very happy upon hearing this news, right? Because for number one, Embiid has been hurt, and there's been no good news whatsoever concerning his health, his recovery, how he's taking things, things of that nature. But me personally, I always say this: anything Nick Nurse says, I'm gonna just take it with a grain of salt, right? Now, I'm not saying that he's lying or he's saying the truth, but the thing with Nick Nurse is that he has a track record of saying certain things that ends up not being true, right? He'll say one thing and then the next day it's something completely different. I remember when Joel Embiid first got hurt, January 31st, 2024, right? Why do I know this day? I don't know. But when he was asked at the post game interview, he said it was the other knee. When everybody saw it, it was on video. Jonathan Kuminga landed on his left knee, but in the post game presser, he said it was on the other knee, right? So that's him lying right there. And then the start of last season, he also said something, gave an update about Joel Embiid, and then later on, it was proven that he was not telling the truth, right? So that's two instances right there where Nick Nurse is not saying the truth or not giving Sixer fans the true information in regards to Joel Embiid's health. So moving forward, if he gives anything, about Embiid, I can't even trust it because, he's had a track record of lying, right? I don't want to use the word lying, but that's what it is. He's been lying, right? And I think he's trying to not make Sixer fans panic, but I mean, you're doing more harm than good at that point, right? Because you're saying one thing, and then the next day is something completely different. So I just can't. I'll just wait and see. If he's ready to go come training camp, then I can evaluate him from there. But I'm not going to take anything that Nick Nurse says, right? Now, if you're going to believe it, if you're going to think that it's facts, okay, cool, no problem. Because Nick Nurse is one of the closest people to Joel Embiid. Now, he's not as close to him, but at least he's as close as you can get, right? But me personally, I'm just not going to believe it, right? I'm not going to believe it. Seeing is believing. So until I see it, that's when I'm going to believe it. He said the Cavs had the game in control too, and Pacers came back and shocked everyone. No lead was safe versus the Pacers. Yeah, the Pacers. Yeah, that was a crazy run from last year, right? That was a crazy run. That game too was nasty. It was nasty. They might be, and I mean they didn't. I mean they didn't win though. But I mean, you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to win to be added as a classic team. So yeah, that's true. And speaking of 2K, I'm gonna get to 2K. I'm gonna talk about 2K in a few minutes here. Nick Nurse is a liar, just like Daryl Morey. Yeah, I mean they buddies, bro. they buddies, so you know what I'm saying. Birds of the same feather, they fly together. So I ain't even surprised. Yep, yep, you ain't lying. But speaking of 2K, so the 2K ratings it came out. Joel Embiid was rated 93. Maxey was what 87, 86? I think 87 or maybe 88. I can't remember. And then shockingly, Quentin Grimes has a higher rating than Paul George. Right? That should be embarrassing for Paul George, right? But it is what it is. But one thing that caught my eye was the top 10 shot blockers in the game, and a Sixer player was in it in the top 10. Now, it was not Joel Embiid, it was not Andre Drummond. I mean, Andre Drummond is not even a rim protector, but it was Adem Bona, right? It was Adem Bona. So my initial thoughts was, okay, he's being recognized as one of one of the top rim protectors in the game because he had some good blocks. He had a lot of goaltending blocks as well. But the game where he blocked LeBron and Bronny James, that's a game that everybody would remember, right? Because he they were saying that he's the first player in NBA history to block a father and son duo. I thought that was funny, but I sent that to Tuna Sports, and I was sending that to tell him that he's being recognized as one of the best or one of the top rim protectors in the game because I've recognized him for his defensive efforts, right? His IQ and defense, his timing, his motor, like everything goes into why I believe he could be a top defender in the NBA. But when I sent it to him, he just looked at it and, he just said it wasn't valid because, there were certain players that were not on the list. And as I looked on it, Rudy Gobert was not on there. A few other players were not on there. And I was like, yeah, this might, the validity of this might not be, it might not be, it might not be real because, but nonetheless, I appreciate 2K recognizing him for his efforts on that side of the floor, right? He definitely has a knack for block shots, and I think sometimes he likes to get off his feet a lot, which it's something that he'll probably learn as he gets more experience, gets more playing time, right? And also the fouling situation. If he plays more games, he'll get acclimated to the NBA game and see what's fouls, what's not fouls, what the referees tend to call, what they don't call. So I believe that he does have the motor, has the athleticism, has the IQ on that side of the floor. But I think as of right now, it just takes more. He just needs more. What you call it? He just needs more playing time to get better on that side of the floor, and that's where I'm gonna leave it at. Yeah, Grimes. Yeah, Grimes. I mean, Grimes had a good stretch last year, but overall, 2K rating over Paul George. That's that's sad, right? That is sad. Yeah, I think Paul George was 86 or maybe 85, but I know that Quentin Grimes has a higher rating over him. I know that for sure. Bonafide scrub. I mean, it's funny. It's funny that you say that, but in the game against the Cavs, even you told me for a fact that Evan Mobley and Jared Allen was scared of going to paint. You said that. And I remember you saying that in the chat. But now it's easy for you to lie because it's gonna be difficult to go get that comment. But you said it in the chat, or you either said it in the chat or you came on the show and you said that. So I don't know why you're calling them a scrub. I mean, what scrub is gonna make two all-star caliber players scared of getting in the paint? Right? But that's you. I mean, you doing you, and that's all good though. They released the 3-point ratings too. Check it later. Yeah, I think Steph Curry was 99. Kevin Durant was 90, 91, 92, which is very, very low for him. I think KD should be 95, 96, or 97. KD is an elite 3-point shooter. But in the moment, you said he was scared, though. That's what you said. Now it's easy to come out right now and say that he wasn't scared, but in the moment you told me he was scared. So that's you capping. That's you not being truthful. And we can all see through your lies, bro. But just give him a few time, right? Give him a few time. Let him get the experience. Let him get on the court. And once he gets on the court, once he gets consistent playing time, bro, he would definitely make all defensive teams like it's nothing, right? He'll definitely make them. And he's very mobile on the perimeter as well, right? He can switch out, he can step out, and also stop guys on the perimeter. Now, in terms of faster guards, not absolutely not, but wing players, he can definitely stay in front of them. Absolutely, he can definitely stay in front of them. So, yeah, the younger core, they just have to get on the floor, right? They just got to get on the floor. Got to get on the floor and get some experience. I mean, that's all it takes. Yeah, he'll make all defensive teams. I agree. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, I think there's other aspects of his game that he has to develop, right? Definitely. I mean, you I know you would definitely agree to it. But in terms of him being a defender, yeah, he's very, 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 very elite at that side of of the ball. But I mean, we seen footage of him trying to shoot threes, and I mean, I think it's not going to translate next season, but give him 2 3 years, and if he consistently works on it, he could be a serviceable 3 point shooter for sure. How am I feeling about the first? So let me share this screen one more time, and yeah. So get this off the screen. I think the first month is going to be cool, but I think they'll still have a losing record if Paul George and Joel Embiid are not going to be playing. Because I think Paul George might miss 5 games to start the season. Now Joel Embiid, I don't know, but Paul George definitely, which is sad. But I mean that's the predicament that the Sixers are in right now. So, but yeah, let me share this right quick, and there we go. So the first month, so one, two, three, four, 5. So are you talking about the month of October or up to November 22nd? Because games in October, I think they'll have a losing record, right? The only teams I see them beating is the Charlotte Hornets, Washington Wizards, and maybe Brooklyn, right? But yeah, I think they'll have a losing record. Now, if Paul George is playing, they'll probably be they'll probably have a 500 record or 1 game over 500. That's what I believe. Up to November 2nd. So let's look at November 2nd. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 games. So shit, maybe 3-3, 2-4. Bro, this is sad, but I mean you can't. That's what it is, bro. I mean, we can't sit up here and lie, right? We can't sit up here and lie, but 3-3, 2-4. That's what I see. I don't see them having a winning record in the first month of the season. I don't. Right? Brooklyn, Washington, and Charlotte. Those are the only teams they can beat. Because I know Orlando's gonna smoke the Sixers. It's not even gonna be funny. Orlando's gonna smoke the Sixers. Boston's gonna smoke the Sixers. Like these teams will not play around with the Sixers. Right? These teams are not gonna play around with the Sixers. Like when you get opportunities like that, you just put the team away early. Right? You put them away early. And I don't think these teams are gonna play around with the Sixers. Like I think Orlando. I think Paolo and Franz, they're not going to play around with the Sixers. Right? They're not going to play around with the Sixers. Now maybe Chicago, they might have a chance against the Bulls. Right? They might have a chance against the Bulls. And with the Cleveland Cavaliers, like I told Tuna Sports, the Sixers are losing that game. They will lose that first one. They're losing that. So, he said, I'm trying to at least give them 5 wins. I'm at work. I wish. Nah, you good, RJ. You good. Probably next week. Next week I'm gonna do a lot of live streams. So yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's just this schedule is just it's a favorable schedule, but because they don't have their full team, it's just not gonna be beneficial to them. Right. So I think Paul George will probably play against Brooklyn. That's just my guess. I don't know, but that's just my guess. Because I mean, they're saying that he's going to get reevaluated at training camp or before preseason or whatever. I mean, it's just sad, right? So he gets reevaluated. He's going to get ramped up for the season, and it's just it's just going to be funny. But yeah, these teams are not they're not going to play with the Sixers, right? But maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe VJ will be much better than we expect. Maybe Justin Edwards improves in the second season significantly. Maybe Embiid is healthy. Maybe Nick Nurse is telling the truth for once in his life, right? Maybe Embiid plays the first game of the season and is relatively healthy all the way throughout. I mean, it's just it's just a lot that goes into it, but I just don't know, right? I just don't know. I can sit up here and do all hypotheticals for the whole day, but if I'm being truthful, if I'm being honest, it's just like it's not gonna happen. Right? It's not gonna happen. Wait, why y'all blaming Mike Sports Vibes? Why y'all blaming him? He did something wrong? Like, what's up? I mean, he be talking his talk, but I don't think he did anything outrageous. But if I do up to November 20th, bro, it gets even worse. Or let me get to November 23rd, right? So that's how many games? That's a lot of games, right? Let me say 12 or 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's 16 games. Yeah, that's still going to be a losing record. It's still going to be a losing record. Because keep in mind, Toronto, they had a lot of players injured last season, and they still smoked the Sixers 4-0. Right? They still smoked the Sixers without Brandon Ingram, without RJ Barrett. Emmanuel quickly played in a few games. These guys are going to be back, right? These guys are going to be back, and they're definitely going to try to make a run for the play-in. So, it's going to be tough for the Sixers, right? It's going to be tough, very, very tough, right? And then you got Milwaukee, Miami, the Clippers. Now, as much as I hate the Clippers right now, I want the Sixers to beat the Clippers. I don't want Chris Paul coming into Philly and winning. No, I don't want that. Right? But sometimes you just got to face reality. The Clippers team might be better than the Sixers on that night, and they might get the better of the Sixers. Who knows? RJ says, I really don't want VJ to emerge yet. Maury can't keep getting away with it. Oh man, that was funny. Oh, I need the team to be bad so this front office changes. But I mean, RJ, if I'm being honest, I think if they will make a change, like a front office change, I think it would be in the off season. Like me personally, I think that would be the best time to, clean house. Like when the season starts, like early in the season or mid season, when you clear out the front office, I don't think that's going to be good. That's just my opinion, though. I think it's best in the off season. So yeah, I think in the off season, if you clean house, you get rid of You get rid of Morey, you get rid of Nick Nurse, you get rid of everybody, Brian Gates, and uh, all the whole coaching staff. You clean house. I mean, I do like Brian Gates though. I like Brian Gates. I like Brian Gates. I like Rico Hines. I respect those guys, but I think Rico he'll definitely go wherever Nick Nurse goes. Right? He was with them in Toronto, so he'll definitely he's definitely with Nick Nurse. But I don't think Mike said anything crazy though. I don't think he said anything crazy, bro. He's been going in on Paul George these last few days. He's been going in on Paul George. He's not letting Paul George off the hook. He got him on the grill. So yeah, he is optimistic. I think his optimism comes in regards with the younger players that the Sixers have. Like he's really high on Maxey, McCain, and hopefully Quentin Grimes comes back returns to the Sixers. Right. I think that's where his optimism comes from. But the Sixers as a whole and them winning the championship or the dreams or imaginations of them winning the championship, I don't think he's with that. Yeah, we're gonna be in trouble. Definitely. Imagine the new GM trying to get rid of 60. Yeah, that's gonna be tough. Right, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough. But I think the best thing will probably be to medically retire Embiid, and then try to attach as many as many draft capital with Paul George and try to send him to Utah or somewhere. Right. I think that's the best solution for the Sixers right now. But if you're trying to like get like equal value in terms of like real players, like it'll be very, very difficult. Like straight up, it's gonna be very, very difficult to move. Because nobody wants that. Nobody wants that contract. And every year his salary increases. Right? Because I think he has like two or three. He got three, but the last season or the last year on the deal is a player option, which he's definitely going to opt into it because he's going to be 38, 39 years old. So he's definitely going to opt into that. And then, yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult to move. So, yeah, the Sixers, they made their bed. They got to lay in it. Yeah, Mike funny, though. He funny. Oh, man. But, yeah, these games is like, but maybe who knows? Maybe the Sixers might surprise us. Maybe Nick Nurse might, you know, in one summer, which is very, very difficult, he might switch up his whole coaching philosophy. He might abolish his older coaching philosophy, adopt a new one, and then, play more of the younger guys, not play any of the older guys, right? And revamp his whole offensive system, revamp the whole defensive system. And maybe the Sixers might be a very, very different team from last year. But I just don't see it. Right. It's a whole hypothetical, but I just don't see it. Right. So these games, it's gonna look ugly. It's gonna be tough. A few of these games are gonna be blowouts. But hey. Oh man, it's sad, but that's crazy. Yeah, and B's contract is all the way up to 2029. Hold on, let me pull this shit up. Because I know that the extension didn't even kick in yet. Right? He's still on the contract that he signed in 2021. So yeah, I think this will be the last year of that, and then the extension kicks in. That's crazy. So yeah, let me. So Embiid and George are making over 100 mil by themselves next year. That's crazy. But yeah, the extension kicks in next season, right? So next season, the season after, and then the 28-29 season, which is a player option, which he'll definitely opt into that, right? He's not gonna opt out and sign no. He'll definitely opt into it. And then Paul George, yep, 51, 54, and then 56. That damn. That's crazy though. And then Maxey, I mean Maxey's on a team. It's friendly. I mean, even though it's a lot, but it's friendly in terms of what he does, and how many years that he got on the contract. So he's guaranteed for the Sixers in the next 4 seasons. Now he might be eligible for an extension after next season, right? He might be eligible for an extension. But Kelly Oubre on the last year of his deal, Drummond on the last year of his deal, Jared McCain after this season has a team option, but the Sixers they'll definitely bring him back. Lonnie Walker is not returning to the Sixers. Trendon Watford signed a 2-year, is a 6 or 7, whatever that was, and then you got Jabari Walker, Dominic Barlow, and Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon. They're on 1-year deals, so yeah, they're almost over the second apron. All right, almost over this. Oh my goodness. Not the sporting page. Oh my god. Embiid's the GOAT. Remember who said he was a GOAT? I mean, I don't think anybody said Embiid was the GOAT. The GOAT at what? He's not the GOAT in terms of Sixers history. So what could he possibly be the GOAT at? I don't know. So that's you coming in here capping. But yeah, salute to the sporting page though. Historical page. Yeah, the extension not even here. That's the crazy part about it. Bro, this is front office malpractice, bro. That's crazy. I heard Tyrese Maxey can't use an opener. Yeah, Maxey a dickhead, bro. Maxey funny. Tuna Sports says hot take. Tyrese Maxey would be the best 6-man in the league. I disagree, bro. I disagree. He is too good to be a 6-man. Maybe Jared McCain. If you said Jared McCain, then I would agree with you. But not Maxey. He's too nice. Too good, too nice, bro. No. Now, is Maxey a top 10 point guard? I mean, maybe at the bottom. At the bottom, maybe at the bottom, but yeah, he's definitely too good to be a 6-man. Too good to be a 6-man. Now, I heard on Mike's live stream they were comparing him to Manu Ginobili, and I like Maxey, but nah, he ain't no Manu Ginobili, bro. He ain't no Manu Ginobili, bro. Manu is on a whole nother level. Right? Manu is on a whole nother level. So there's a lot that he has to do if he wants to surpass Manu, but as of right now, no. Not at all. Colin Sexton 2.0. Nah, bro. He better than Sexton. He better than Colin Sexton, bro. And he better than Darius Garbage too. The most optimistic fan I've seen is that kid Sean Bernard. He got us looking like Cowboys fans. He got us winning 46 games. Wait, guaranteed? That's crazy. Because I got the Sixers between 37 and 44. I mean, I can't really pick like a number, but within 37 and 44, I think that's realistic. But yeah, I think Sean Bernard, he's very, very realistic. Trust the Love. I don't know if you follow Trust the Love. He's very very optimistic too. Um, yeah, he really believes in Joel Embiid and Paul George. Always fighting some of these fans in the comment section. I think you should check him out. But yeah, those two, they're very very optimistic. They really believe in the Sixer team, which maybe they know something that we don't know. But as far as what we're seeing right now, it's just very very difficult. It's very very difficult. But um, yeah, 46 games. I think that's a stretch, especially if we don't know the status of Joel Embiid and Paul George, because we know they're not playing back to backs, right? So we can get that out the way, right? They're not going to play any back to backs, and Paul George is definitely not playing the start of the season. So 46, that's a if you win 46 games, you're the seventh or eighth seed, or maybe sixth seed. I think Detroit won 46 games last year, so yeah, if the Sixers win 46, then they're probably a top six seed, right? They're probably a top six seed. Oh man, 46 games though, bro. That means BJ is better than Zion in his first season. I mean, Zion was hurt, right? He didn't really play a lot of games, so I think that took away from his his value, right? And how good he could have been. But I mean, yeah, I don't think VJ is gonna be on that level. Nah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. But yeah, 46 is definitely a stretch. It's definitely a stretch. And I mean, yeah, that's all good. You want to see if the Sixers can win 46, that's cool. But I don't see it, right? I don't see it. And I think another thing I want to say is I think the Sixers are going to have a similar season to what the Lakers had in the 22-23 season, where the Lakers were the 13th seed and then later on they made a run and then they finished as the seventh seed. Now, I'm not insinuating that the referees are going to give the Sixers a lot of free throws. No, I'm not doing that, but I think the Sixers are going to have a similar season like that, where they start is not going to look nice, and it's going to be something similar to the season before. But he says Zion was a beast in those first. He definitely was, but he didn't play a lot of games, so that kind of like took away from you know because I feel like if he was healthy, he probably would have been even much better than what he was, right? Because he came in the next year and he was killing shit, right? The next year he came in, he made the All Star team, if I'm not mistaken, right? And he was, I think, one vote shy of making an All NBA team. So yeah, but nah, VJ is not going to be on that level. VJ not going to be on that level. So nah, the Sixers are not winning 46 games, and I love the Sixers, but that's not realistic. That's not realistic at all. So he says, I do believe that they make a run around March and the fans buy back in, unfortunately. So when they make the run in March, are you saying that they could make the play in? Because that would definitely get the fans would definitely get happy if they can make it into the play in. Because I think February, March, that's right around when the Lakers were also making their run, right? When the referees were giving them free throws, and right, Austin Reeves attempting 22 free throws in his second season, which is very very sus. But you know, but yeah, I think the Sixers will have a similar run like that. Now, are they going to be the 13th seed? I don't know, but I just think that they start not being in the play-in picture, and then later on they make their way into the play-in picture. That's how I see it. And it could definitely happen though. It could be that way, if especially if Paul George and Joel Embiid are in and out the lineup. Like, yeah. He says I think we do make the play-in, but I got to see where Detroit lands. The Pistons. What moves did the Pistons make this offseason? I didn't see them make any significant moves, but I think Cade Cunningham is going to be much better. They'll probably get Jaden Ivey back because he was dealing with injuries. I don't know if they're going to be the sixth seed, right? But I think other teams, like I think Atlanta is going to be very, very good. The Magic is going to be very, very good. I'm really high on the Magic, like especially that kid Paolo. Like and Paolo's better than Evan Mobley, definitely. But all right, Tune, you're not saying anything new, bro. Nobody said the Sixers will be better than the Pistons. Nobody said that. So stop it. But yeah, I think certain teams are definitely going to be over the Sixers. The Atlanta Hawks being one, Orlando being one. Um, Even the Raptors might be better than the Sixers. So it's yeah, the Sixers. I think they'll be out the playing picture and then make their way into the playing picture, right? And also, I mean, Indiana's going to drop. They were the fifth seed last year. I think they'll probably be in the play-in, right? So teams are going to have to fill that void. But Milwaukee's going to be just as good as they were last season. Now Milwaukee was the fifth seed, and Indiana was the fourth seed. So Indiana's going to drop, and teams are going to, bypass them. They got Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson, and Jalen Duren is pretty good. Yeah, Jalen Duren he's a good big man. Um, okay, so yeah, they made some moves. Okay, that's good, but is it good enough though? I mean, I know it's good enough for the East, but in terms of them being a top five or top six, I don't know. Tell Paolo to make an All NBA team first. Tune in sports. I've said this multiple times, and I'll say it again. If Paolo Banchero played enough games, that bum Evan Mobley wouldn't have made the All NBA team, and he damn sure wouldn't have won the DPOY if Wemby did not, miss all those games because of the blood clot. Because Wemby played how many games? 40, 40, 41, 42, and he still led the league in blocks. So imagine if he had played a lot of games, he easily would have been the DPOY. So that should get out the way. And then the All NBA team, if Paolo played a lot of games, that was his spot. So Evan Mobley stole the All NBA spot from Paolo. So just keep that in mind. But I mean, making the All NBA team, that's cute. But can he make it again? That's the challenge. Is Miami a dark horse? Yeah, I even forgot about Miami. Yeah, I mean Miami, they playing bandits. RJ, they playing bandits, so they don't definitely be in the playing. Their spot is already stamped in the playing. Oh man, shoulda, woulda, could. Nah, it's not shoulda, woulda, coulda. That's what happened, and that's facts. That's what happened, bro. But yeah, I'm getting ready to get up off here. Any final words? Any final thoughts? The Sixers schedule, yeah, that it's gonna be brutal next season. When they're losing all these games, and when the game is here and they're breaking all these threes, and when VJ's breaking threes and Kelly Oubre breaking threes and shit, and Maxey breaking threes because Maxey was breaking a lot. Brick City. Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. Because I mean, they got Giannis, and Giannis is still in his prime, and yeah. I mean, having Giannis is just a cheat code because you're gonna be a top 6 seed guaranteed. Now, in terms of like playoff success, that's where you might come up short in the first round or maybe in the second round. But in the regular season, yes, they're definitely a top 6 seed. They're definitely a top 6 seed. Yeah, so the Knicks are going to be a top team. Cleveland's going to be a top team. Milwaukee's going to be a top team, and then yeah, that's the rest of them. It's very, very tricky. Now the West is very, very. You can predict like OKC might be OKC's going to be up there. Houston is going to be up there. Denver's going to be up there. And other teams might be up there as well. The Clippers are missing the playoffs, and that's how I feel. The Clippers going to damn sure miss the playoffs, and I don't care what nobody says. The Clippers are missing the playoffs. But yeah, Tune. Evan Mobley made the All NBA team. That's cool. That's cute. But can he make it next season? That's the challenge. If he doesn't make it, that means that it was a fluke. I mean, nah, they're not winning a championship or making any deep postseason run, but I think they'll be a top team in the West. I mean, in the East, in the West. Yeah, they're gonna be a very, very good team, right? Because Jalen Johnson is gonna be back. The rookie is gonna get a lot better, and they also made some moves, right? They made some moves too, so that is all gonna help them, right? They got Nickeil Alexander Walker is gonna help them, and it's Chris. Yeah, Chris Stapps. Yeah, gonna help them too. So tune in sports. Like I said, bro, I don't care about top 10. Is he gonna be top 3? If he's not gonna be top 3, then don't talk about it, bro. If he's not gonna be top 3, don't talk about it. I don't want to hear he gonna be in top 10, top 15. Who cares about the top 10, bro? If you're not top 3, nobody cares about you in the MVP race. Let's just be honest, bro. Let's just be honest. So yeah, RJ, yeah, appreciate you for stopping by. Appreciate you. Next week, we'll do a lot of shows. Top 6. Still, we don't care. If you're not top 3, nobody cares about you. So are you saying that Evan Mobley is going to be the best player on the Cavs next season? Because if he is, then the Cavs are in trouble. if he's the best player on the Cavs are going to be in trouble. So I hope that's not the case. I hope Donovan Mitchell is the best player. Darius Garland is not going to start the season, but when he comes back, Darius Garland will be the second best player on the Cavs. And I hate that you push this narrative that he's the second option. Evan Mobley ain't no fucking second option. It's Darius Garland. Darius garbage. That's who the second option is. So Evan Mobley got to get in where he fits in, right? Like Jacob Fatu says. Yeah, but appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hopefully the Sixers season goes very, 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 very well. Maybe the 46 games that Sean Bernard says they're gonna win. Hopefully it materializes, but I don't see 46. I see between 37 and 44. Right in between, right in that range. Right, and who knows? Maybe they might have another losing season. So, yeah, that's that. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Salute to Tune In Sports. Salute to One Mike. Salute to the Bull RJ stopping by, always showing love. Salute to the Sporting page also. Salute the Humble in the beginning. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm gonna definitely catch you guys on the next one. And Tune In Sports, I'm waiting for the next live stream because I got some shit to say. But yeah, I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Peace.